Something bigger was buried that day. What happened in Dallas wasn't just the death of a president, it was the beginning of a mystery America still hasn't solved. For decades, records were sealed, evidence vanished, and witnesses were pressured into silence. Even inside the government, people whispered that the official story didn't make sense. This is how America's greatest tragedy became its greatest secret, and how the truth was hidden in plain sight. When John F. Kennedy took office, he was seen as a new kind of leader, young, bold, and unwilling to play by the old rules. He challenged powerful institutions, Wall Street, the military, and even the CIA. Behind the scenes, America was running covert wars, toppling foreign governments, and fighting communism from the shadows. Kennedy didn't trust it. He wanted transparency, diplomacy over destruction. So, he fired the CIA's director, Allen Dulles, after the Bay of Pigs disaster. That move made him enemies inside of his own system. JFK wasn't just fighting the Soviets now, he was fighting parts of his own government. Dallas, Texas, November 22nd, 1963. Crowds cheered as Kennedy's motorcade rolled through Dealey Plaza, then the sound of gunfire. Shots fired at the president's car. Kennedy slumped forward. Governor Connolly was hit. Within half an hour, the President of the United States was gone. Police quickly arrested a former Marine named Lee Harvey Oswald. They claimed he fired from the 6th floor of a nearby building, but Oswald denied it. "I'm just a patsy," he said. Then, 2 days later, while in police custody, nightclub owner Jack Ruby shot Oswald on live television. And just like that, the only suspect was dead. With Oswald gone, the government needed answers, fast. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover decided almost immediately that Oswald acted alone. President Lyndon B. Johnson then created the Warren Commission to make it official. Ironically, one of its key members was Allen Dulles, the same CIA chief Kennedy had fired. 10 months later, the commission released its findings. 3 bullets, 1 gunman, no conspiracy. The public was told to move on, but the evidence didn't add up. That infamous magic bullet was said to have caused 7 wounds between Kennedy and Connolly, yet recovered in perfect condition. Doctors at Parkland Hospital also described entry wounds from the front, contradicting the government's version. But the more investigators dug, the more the official story began to collapse. Pieces of evidence vanished, photos were edited, witnesses changed their stories. So why lie? Why cover anything up if Oswald truly acted alone? Well, because in 1963, the world was one bad headline away from nuclear war. The CIA was secretly trying to assassinate Fidel Castro, and Oswald had visited both Cuba and the Soviet Union. If the public believed foreign governments were involved, it could have triggered mass panic or worse. So the White House chose the safer story. Oswald was a lone drifter, not part of any plot. The truth didn't matter as much as keeping the country calm. But by doing that, they planted the seed of distrust that still exists today. In the years that followed, cracks began to show. Governor Connolly himself rejected the single bullet theory. Even Lyndon Johnson admitted privately that he believed there was more to the story. Then came the 1970s. Watergate, Vietnam, and an American public tired of being lied to. The government reopened the case under the House Select Committee on Assassinations. They uncovered proof that both the FBI and CIA withheld evidence from investigators, and that 2 shooters may have fired that day. Even the committee's final statement read, there was probably a conspiracy. But who was behind it? That part remains buried in classified files. By the 1990s, the public's trust in government was shattered. Oliver Stone's film JFK reignited national outrage and forced Congress to pass the JFK Records Act, demanding secret documents be released. Yet even now, more than 60 years later, thousands of pages remain redacted or sealed. And so, the mystery endures. Maybe it was a lone gunman, maybe it wasn't. But what's undeniable is that something changed that day. not just in Dallas, but in America itself. A country that once believed everything its leaders said, learned that power doesn't always tell the truth. And that's the real legacy of November 22nd, 1963, not just the death of a president, but the birth of America's greatest unanswered question. Subscribe to Strexed, and I'll catch you next time.